Hey, how's it going? Thank you first of all for coming to this page. If you've got here, I assume you've come via Twitter. You were tweeted about getting a video on how you can hack your exams and all of that good stuff. So, my name's Deepak from Get Paid to Tutor and Meet My Tutor, and this is that video. So let's get straight into it. I am no longer a student, but I was a student for several years, and I really know what the feeling is like to kind of poo your pants just a little bit because you've got exams coming up, or there's like a module or a subject or something that you don't quite understand, and it's really kind of screwing with you. So what I want to talk about today is how to hack those exams, and I've got 5 steps that I want to take you through to just basically make sure you can get the best out of your exams, your coursework, and generally just your education to make sure that you can get to where you need to go. So let's get straight into it. The first thing I want you to do is, if you've got exams coming up, right? So let's just say you've got an exam, you've got 4 exams in 6 weeks from now. One of the super important things to do that they don't really tell you about until late stage is, and you can do this actually at any time of the year, but download all of the past exam papers from the last 5 years, okay? Not 1, not 2, but 5 years, okay? So download them all, get it into a spreadsheet, and basically start tracking what questions have been appearing very consistently and what questions haven't often appeared, and track what came up last year. And basically, if that's something that scares you a little bit, get someone who's quite funky with doing some technical stuff and going to, some of the examination board websites, Edexcel, AQA, OCR, so on and so forth, or whatever it might be for the country that you're in, that you're listening from. But go to the exam board sites. Your school won't necessarily tell you about this, but you can get access to all of the past exam papers and put it onto a spreadsheet or just write it out, but basically work out the pattern of the questions that come up. Because one of the things that we know full well is that you get a ton of stuff that you need to learn for school to pass your exams, and in actuality what comes up is typically 40%, 60% of what you actually learn, right? So you don't cover everything in the exam. It's impossible. It's not long enough, and it's not going to be that exhaustive in terms of the scope that's covered. So work out that pattern and begin prepping, for example, answers that come up for quite popular questions. Also, prep answers for questions that have perhaps yet to appear. But by doing this little trick will really bring a massive focus to your revision, especially in those weeks leading up to the exams. I remember for my exams, especially at A-level and then university, but this also applies to GCSE, I wish I'd done it then, that I downloaded all of the past papers. Especially I was at Warwick, I studied English literature just there, and I downloaded all the exam papers, and I was able to kind of work out a pattern as to what was expected to be coming up. And that really helped focus my revision. So that's tip number 1. Right, let's go for tip number 2. So get your friends to run through these exam papers that you've got now. Get them to your friend or your mum, your dad, whoever it is that you're quite comfortable and cool with. Get them to do not go through laboriously forever, go through an exam paper, but go through an exam paper and quickly basically ask you a series of rapid fire questions. So let's just assume it's elementary maths. What's 1 plus 1? 2. What's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 4 plus 4? 8. What's 4 times 4? 16. Okay, cool. And you'll begin to get to questions that you're just really not that familiar with. What's the square root of 99? I don't know. Okay, cool. That question we can mark as a weakness. So, do you see what we're doing here? Well, what we're going to do is very quickly establish what your weak points are once you've dissected the areas in which you want to revise. Because the problem is that we have a habit of tending to focus upon our strengths. Sorry, the computer went blank for a second. We have the tendency of focusing on our strengths and sometimes ignoring our weaknesses. Now the problem is that you'll get called out during the exam when a question comes up and you're like, I have no idea how to answer this question. So get your friend to go through like 4 or 5 exam papers and just quick, rapid fire ask you questions. Because I know on your own you get bored. But if you're doing it with a buddy, you buddy up and they test you, you can quickly work out, okay, I struggle with algebra, calculus and fractions, but I'm strong on trigonometry, calculus and something else. Okay, hopefully that makes sense as to what I'm trying to get at. You only know what you don't know by being tested, and that's the quickest way to work out what you need to focus on. So that's tip number 2. Let's look at tip number 3. I've got them here on a page in notes. Okay, cool, I like this one. Number 3 is make your revision musical, right? So what I mean by that is I literally mean you can sing some songs about your revision and do funny stuff like I'm doing now. Yes, I am a little bit embarrassed. Thank God I'm brown. I can't go red. But the point is that it makes it super memorable. I think I did do it for my GCSEs actually. Yeah, no, I did. I basically sung half of my revision notes, okay? I sung a whole ton of my revision notes. So that's something that, you know, you should completely bear in mind for your revision. Make it musical, make it dynamic, make it interesting, because you engage different levels of understanding. You know, you've got your auditory level, your auditory reasoning, you've got your semantic reasoning, you've got your visual reasoning, or learnings rather, and you have different levels of learning. And by making it musical, you engage with the content in a different way, and it's funny, right? It makes you laugh. It's better than mnemonics, I think, and some other things. So make your revision musical. That is hack number 3. Now number 4, this is going to be a toughie. I don't know if you're going to be able to do this, but I really, really want you to do this. And remember, the fear is worse, as always, more fearful than the reality. So number 4 is do a practice paper, okay? I know you're scared. I know a practice paper is like, oh wow, okay, but just literally open it up, sit down and just do it, okay? Do it under exam conditions. Do it coming up to your exam. Try and even do one every day, once every 2 days, just to get used to the pressure of having an exam. You know, get yourself into your suit or your school uniform, go to a classroom, sit down and try and recreate those exam conditions. Because you may well find, and this may apply to some of you, that you'll know all the content, you'll understand the reasons and the rationale and the logic, but you won't really be prepped for the context, which is timed conditions, framed pressure, and, you know, urgency. And that's something that you can't really get other than on match day. So do prepare for that by doing some practice exams. That's tip number 4. So the final tip is build a reward system, right? If you build a reward system, that will make your revision and your coursework so much more interesting, because you've got real rewards. So for example, I love going to Nando's, right? You might have a favorite pizza place that you go to, you might have a favorite film, you might treat yourself to cinema, but build in definite rewards. So if you plot out, like today I'm going to do an exam, and if I do that exam, I get to go to the cinema, right? That would be a really cool reward to make sure that you really get that work done and you have something to look forward to, okay? So creating reward systems around periods of revision, however little or however big, having your favorite food, going, you know, having a cookie, going to the cinema, you know, if you're at university, going for a beer with your friends, whatever it might be, build in a super cool reward system. That's my 5 tips on how to hack your exams. Now, I've actually, in fact, got an extra special tip for you all. Now, to get that tip, there's just 2 things I want you to do for me. The first thing is just look below and just like the Meet My Tutor page on Facebook, right? That's where you're going to get some more of my videos and some more updates and some cool stuff. And then just below that, again, there's a link to the actual website for Meet My Tutor, because if you're still worried, then by all means, you can go ahead and get yourself a tutor. Get yourself a tutor that can help take you through all of those exam steps, right? So if you do those 2 things, then what you will get is a super cool video that's going to come directly to your inbox, which will share with you the 6th tip. So that's everything. Thank you so much, and I hope this is going to really help you hack your exams. See you guys.